Good morning. Good morning to the Board of Commissioners and to our wonderful citizens of Douglas County. Today is November the 1st, 2022. I'm telling you, these months have definitely flown by this year. Certainly, Board of Commissioners, I would like to start with roll call just to verify our presence. District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell III, he's not here with us yet. District 2 and Vice Chairman Kelly Robinson.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Terenia Carthen.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Ann Jones-Guider.
Present.
Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones, Chairwoman, present. Board of Commissioners, we do have an established quorum this morning. We will start. We have our pastor, Josh Smith from Cowan Mill Church this morning to render invocation. I had an opportunity to attend Pastor Smith's church this past Sunday, and I'm telling you, it was full of fire. It was wonderful.
Yes.
You're great. I'm telling you, a wonderful pastor, and I really enjoyed the service. Pastor Smith, if you would just come forward. Board of Commissioners, certainly once Pastor Smith render the invocation, I will ask that everybody stand, and also just please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance as well. Remain standing.
All right. Good morning. Let's pray. Abba, Father, we thank you for your goodness, Lord. We thank you that you allow us to come before your presence, God. I just want to come forth today and pray for our leaders, Lord. I've been guilty too many times of condemning and having the spirit of criticism more than lifting up our leaders. Your word says to pray for our leaders that we may have peaceable lives. So, Lord, let us have an attitude not to be right in the debate, but to be right with you. Lord, promotion comes from above, so these commissioners are here for such a time as this. They are ministers of God from Romans 13. And Lord, I ask you to break the strongholds over our community, our homes, and we fight not against flesh and blood. Father God, my desire is that revival would break out. Lord, nobody thinks it would happen in the courthouse. Or we expect it to happen in the church house, maybe the schoolhouse, but let it happen in our government. So the move of God is so powerful that only you get the glory. Lord, fight not against flesh and blood. And a house divided will not stand, in the home or the church or the government. Our identity is in Christ and not party. Lord, we're not here to tickle ears or to throw stones, but we're here to provoke us into good works and who we are in Christ. Lord, let us not sacrifice the future on the altar of the immediate. And Lord, let us live coram Deo for the glory of God. Let us choose this day whom we will serve, and let the goodness of God draw us to repentance. One life will soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last. Lord, I thank you for our commissioners. Lord, I know they get a lot of maybe rocks thrown at them or pointed out where they missed it, but I just want to say thank you for what they have done. Let them not be weary in well-doing, Lord. And Lord, your word says in Jeremiah, thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man boast in his wisdom. Let not the mighty man boast in his might. Let not the rich man boast in his riches. But let him who boasts, boast in that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord who practices steadfast love, justice, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, declares the Lord. May the God of hope fill them with joy and peace in believing that by the power of the Holy Spirit we will abound in hope. Thank you for your Son, Jesus. Thank you for Holy Spirit. Thank you that we're one day closer to seeing you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Pastor Smith, for imparting those words of wisdom and grace over our county, and we appreciate everything you do in the community. And again, I had a wonderful time at your church. Great church. Thank you so much. Clerk, do we have anyone sign up for comment this morning?
No, ma'am, we did not.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, no one has signed up for comments, so we'll go right into the approval of our minutes. Board of Commissioners, you have the commission meeting minutes of October 18, 2022, the work session minutes of October 17, 2022, and executive session minutes of October 17, 2022. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made, Board?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Being none, the minutes stand approved. Board of Commissioners, we have 3 proclamations this morning. We have tab number 4, proclaiming November 6, 2022 as Retired Educators Day in Douglas County. That proclamation will be read by Mr. John Stone, and he has his beautiful wife, Elaine Stone, here with him. And everybody that's with Mr. Stone, if you just come forth and allow him to read the proclamation. You want? Certainly, we honor our retired educators and all the great things that they've done to move.
Good morning,
Everybody
Madam
forward.
Chairman and Commissioners. Glad to be here today, and we all in advance wish to thank you for signing this proclamation recognizing that November the 6th, the state of Georgia is State of Georgia Retired Educators Day. Proclamation, Douglas County Board of Commissioners, Retired Educators Day. Whereas the governor of the state of Georgia has proclaimed the date of Sunday, November 6, 2022, as Retired Educators Day in Georgia, and whereas there are more than 155,000 retired educators in Georgia, of which 31,000 plus are members of the Georgia Retired Education Association, and whereas the retired educators of Georgia donate thousands of hours of volunteer service and make invaluable contributions to the welfare of their respective communities across the state, and whereas it is appropriate that a day be designated for citizens to express their appreciation for the contribution that retired educators have made and continue to make for the betterment of human lives and society, and whereas local churches will recognize those lasting contributions made by retired educators in the community. Now, therefore, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim Sunday, November the 6th, 2022 as Retired Educators Day, and call upon the citizens of Douglas County to observe that day in an appropriate manner, honoring retired educators. So proclaimed this first day of November 2022 by the Chairman Jones, Commissioner Mitchell, Commissioner Carthena, and Commissioner Robertson, and Commissioner Ann Guyder Jones. We wish to thank you very much for your proclamation and to let you know that we appreciate it, and also to let you know that next year we'll be back, but next year your local unit will be celebrating its 50th year of service to Douglas County, and that the Georgia Association has been around since about 1957, so we thank you very much.
Thank you. Certainly, with all due respect to our retired educators, and you all have definitely cast a wide net, and you've had a tremendous impact on the betterment of human lives, and you have lasting contributions that will just reign forever because you've touched so many lives. You don't realize you've created doctors and scientists, and other teachers, and cosmetologists. You've just touched so many lives, and you just don't know what you've done, but we really appreciate what our retired educators done here, and everything that you do here in the state and across the nation. Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve this morning?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. All right, Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. What we're going to do this morning, we'll get our exercise this morning, Board. We only have 3 proclamations. We're going to go down front and take photographs. You all mind if we come down and take a photograph with you? We're so
Madam Chair?
excited. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry for the interruption. I do want to thank the crew for their service to Douglas County, but I also like to spotlight Ms. Brown for her service to Douglas County as a member of our Personnel Review Board.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown, for what you do. All right, we're going to go down and take a photograph, if that's okay with you, Board of Commissioners. All right, okay? All right. We only have 3 this morning. Get our exercise.
Best BOC in 2022.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to move on to tab number 5. And again, thank you for our retired educators and everything that you do here in our community to continue to support education. Tab number 5 is proclaiming the month of November 22 as National American Indian Heritage Month in Douglas County. We have Lisa Meek here this morning. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in and reading the proclamation.
Thank you for this honor.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The National Society Daughters of the American Revolution Sweetwater Chapter in Douglas County, Georgia, would like to do this proclamation. So thank you very much on behalf of the chapter.
Yes.
Proclamation, Douglas County Board of Commissioners, National American Indian Heritage Month. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous peoples. And whereas the contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today. And whereas their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States. And whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976, and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And whereas, in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historical activities have been planned. Now, therefore, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize November 2022 as the National American Indian Heritage Month in Douglas County, and urge all of our citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. So proclaimed this first day of November 2022. Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones, Chairman, Henry Mitchell III, District 1, Terenia Carthen, District 3, Kelly Robinson, District 2, and Ann Jones Guider, District 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give her a hand, everyone. Thank you so much. This proclamation is so worthy. The American Indians in this nation, really, they're the backbone. They're the beginning, the foundation. So this is so worthy, and I'm just happy that you were able to come in and provide us with this proclamation this morning, a requested proclamation. I see that this recognition and awareness started in 1976, which has been over 40 years ago, so that continues. We want to continue that legacy because our Native American Indians in this country have just really set standards, and they are the beginning. And thank you for just coming in, making all of us aware of what our American Indians have done for this nation. All right, Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, Board. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your vote. Okay. All right, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, Board of Commissioners, and the motion carries. So congratulations, we're happy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're gonna come down and take a photograph with you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, we're excited. And then we get our exercises more than I didn't work. We probably didn't get a chance to work.
Come on, lady.
Thank you again so much, Mrs. Meeks, for coming in, and certainly this was an honor and pleasure for me to enjoy today. My great-grandfather is a full-blooded Blackfoot Indian, so thank you. That's an honor today. All right, we're going to move on to tab number 6. Tab number 6 is proclaiming the week of November 6th through 12th, 2022 as Care and Kindness Week in Douglas County. Our Patricia Watley is here and her entire team. Everybody want, yes. I love it.
Thank you so much for having us here today. This is our 6th time to be before your commission, and we're looking forward to many, many more years of care and kindness. The proclamation that we have today has been signed by each and every one of you, and I know how important this particular aspect of your responsibilities is, and we really appreciate it. Our proclamation today is the Douglas County Board of Commissioners International Care and Kindness Week. Whereas Pilot International was founded in Macon, Georgia in 1921. This is our 101st year. Whereas this volunteer nonprofit community service organization seeks to promote programs and activities that influence positive change in communities throughout the world through education, volunteerism, financial support, and research. And whereas the pilot's motto is to do more, care more, and be more, and strive to serve communities by reaching out to those in need. And whereas Pilot International is made up of a diverse group of people who celebrate family caregivers, encourage families and friends to spend time together without cell phones, and cheer teachers and mentors through notes and drawings from children, thanking them and their care and kindness. And wherefore, Pilot International has been true to its mission to serve communities throughout the world for 100 years and has served Douglas County, Georgia since the Pilot Club of Sweetwater chartered in 2008. Now, therefore, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners proclaims the week of November 6th through 12th, 2022 as International Care and Kindness Week in Douglas County, Georgia, and encourage those who wish to serve their community to seek opportunities to join Pilot International in friendship and service. So proclaimed this first day of November 2022. And this proclamation has been signed by Dr. Ramona Jackson, by Henry Mitchell, by Tina Carthen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay. All right.
We said we'll get,
That's not what it looked like when I looked at it a while ago. It changed. Okay. Kelly Robinson and Ann Jones Guider. And we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
And Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, did I leave him out?
Yeah.
I believe,
Wait a minute. Oh, I said that, Henry Mitchell.
yeah, you did.
I said him.
You just missed the third, that's all. You're good.
I left the third out.
All right.
Well, one day you'll just be the first, so we're looking at the future. And
Thank you.
thank you so very much. And this is my group, Pilot Club of Sweetwater. We have approximately 15 members now, and we're working very hard. We're going to have a recognition ceremony at Benton House on the 10th of November, honoring caregivers in Douglas County. And if any of you would like to attend, it'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we would be glad to have you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Watley, and the entire group that came today to celebrate Care and Kindness Week, International Care and Kindness Week. And certainly the Pilot Club of Sweetwater's, your existence in here in Douglas County has been since 2008. That's amazing. So thank you for your continued service. I like your motto, do more, care more. And it was one more, you said. Do more, care more.
Be more.
And be more. So that's something that resonates. It should resonate all over our entire county. So thank you again for coming in today, celebrating Care and Kindness Week. That's very important. It speaks for itself. Just we need you to care more and be kind more to all folks. So thank you so much. We'll certainly, Board of Commissioners, we will definitely, I'll call for a vote, if y'all just give me a minute, and then we're going to come down and take a photograph. Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation regarding Care and Kindness Week here in Douglas County. Do we have a motion to approve?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to proclaim the week of November 6th through 12th, 2022 as Care and Kindness Week in Douglas County.
All right, do we have a second? Okay.
Second.
I believe Commissioner Mitchell had already seconded.
hear you,
Okay,
I hear.
you can hear. Okay, we have a motion and second on the table, Board. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. There we go. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. So it's very unanimous this morning. We will come down and take photographs with you. Thank you so much. Let's give them a hand. Care and
Thank you.
Kindness Week.
Thank you all.
And the Pilot Club of Sweetwater, thank you for what you do in our community.
We need Care and Kindness Week every week.
Every day.
Every day of every
Moment.
week.
All right, Board, let's take one more photograph today. That's it. You want to table mine now? You want to just table it? Or you want to wait till I get to it? Okay, okay. All right. Board of Commissioners, we will resume our meeting. Okay, I'm just trying to allow everyone that's exiting the room to leave. Okay, again, thank you. Our Pilot Club of Sweetwater, we really appreciate you. You're welcome. Board of Commissioners, we're going to move right back into our meeting. We'll dive right back into the meeting. We are starting with tab number 7. It's a resolution. Board of Commissioners, it's resolution supporting the revision of the county's tax incentive plan for economic development purposes. Do we have a motion to approve, Board?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. All right, Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries, but I would like to take the opportunity to make sure that this resolution is read into the minutes, and I will ask Commissioner Carthen if she would just take the privilege of reading the resolution so the citizens will be aware of what we just voted on. Commissioner Carthen, you have the floor.
Thank you. Resolution by the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. Whereas Douglas County and the City of Douglasville approved a tax incentive plan, TIP, in 2013 to attract more quality jobs to Douglas County and Douglasville. Whereas the TIP successfully attracted companies like Southwire, Google, Switch, Gordon Food Service, Microsoft, WestRock, and others to the county. Whereas the TIP assisted in attracting more than 4,000 new jobs and in excess of $4 billion in capital to the community. Whereas many companies seeking property tax incentives from Douglas County and Douglasville are qualifying at the highest tier of incentive offerings, likely as a result of the impact of inflation and advances in technology. Whereas the Development Authority of Douglas County believes that increases in minimum wage and investment thresholds for TIP qualification across all tiers will counteract the increase in qualification levels and result in greater tax dollars being collected from new and expanding projects. Now therefore be it resolved that the Douglas County Board of Commissioners hereby expresses its support for the authority's efforts to revise the TIP to increase the minimum wage and investment thresholds, as well as other enhancements, and to align the plan with Douglasville's tax incentive plan. Madam Chair, I yield the floor.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Certainly just wanted to make sure that this resolution was read to allow our citizens to just have a good idea of what we just voted on. So thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Board of Commissioners, we're going to move to our business items, which is tab number 8. We have some legislation that we're voting on this morning that's been brought forth by our Vice Chairman. Approval of the 2022 Optimization Act for CB-40, which is the Community Service Board policy. Vice Chair, would you just like to take the privilege, just give us just provide a framework of what we're voting on this morning, or would you prefer the clerk to do it?
For the clerk to do it.
Yeah, clerk, would you provide?
For the official record.
Yeah, for the official record. Okay, we would do that.
Did you need me to read the entire?
Not the entire, just the top. Yeah, just give us a brief.
Let me pull it up.
Read the first paragraph. That should be sufficient.
Okay. No, he's not out here. That's what I was looking around. Every now and then I throw the executive team a curveball and also my commissioners. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
know
I have
you're
it now.
prepared. You ready? Okay.
Okay, this is the Community Services Board Program and Funding. In general, the Douglas County Board serves as the principal county agency for delivering of intellectual disability and core behavioral health access, serving over 5,000 Douglas County citizens annually, as well as the chief agency in partnership with the Department of Public Safety in providing community intervention training to the county's first responders.
Okay. Thank you. Is that sufficient?
Yep.
Vice Chair?
Madam Chair?
You have the floor, Vice Chair.
Absolutely, and Ray Lightford, if he was here, he would do it way better than I could. But nevertheless, yesterday, Ray Lightford, I guess our COO of our Community Service Board, came before the Board of Commissioners. And as part of this policy consideration that the board is going to take up, he made us aware of Senate Bill 403. And that is by the Senate of the Georgia General Assembly, who passed a bill into law to make effective that now community service boards are part of public safety. Now, I need you to think about that. So public safety is what? Fire, EMS, 911, sheriff, coroner, code enforcement, et cetera, according to statutory accounting. Now they've added one more, the Community Service Board. The reason is that they're getting their hands and their minds finally around behavioral health, mental health that's out there. It's a new 988 system that's coming online that, in addition to fire and EMS showing up, they also got somebody's going to come up with transportation if you got a mental issue out there. Because everybody's not evil, but we may have behavioral challenges and infractions out there in the community. And so you saw the state that they are evolving. In addition to that, this comes alongside of us giving consideration. For the past 5 years, the Board of Commissioners have funded our Community Service Board to provide healthcare services right here in our local community. Again, we've probably spent, about 33% of our budget on normal law enforcement alone, which is the sheriff's office. But we spend less than 2% on our entire budget for not only Community Service Board, but for DFACS and the seniors. Think about it. All right, so we spend a lot of money on sort of enforcement for what 2% of our overall population that's in our jail, and only roughly about, what do they say, 25% of that they shouldn't even be in there, because there's no, obviously, alternative sentencing for them to put them. There's no more hospitals to put people in, and so we've got to be able to deal with some intervention, and so this is a provision that begins to shift that. This whole year's Optimization Act was about aligning our policies, aligning both at the state, federal, and local level, as well as our own internal policies. So I'm hoping that the board will agree to this. There is a funding mechanism associated with this, which we'll take up in our retreat tomorrow and Thursday. So this is just simply the policy component to advance us forward, to position us for tomorrow to provide services to the community. Madam Chair, I yield.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. All right. Board of Commissioners, certainly at this time, I will call the question. Board, do we have the motion, do we have a motion to approve the 2022 Optimization Act for CB 40 Community Service Board policy?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Board? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Dyder?
As we discussed yesterday, there's going to be a lot of grants out there. This is mandated, a lot of this procedure that's being pushed upon the Service Community Board. And there's going to be a lot of grants out there. So when we go tomorrow to discuss the funding, we need to keep that in mind, because we don't want to just give a blanket amount for 5 years, because they may not need it from us. They may get it from the federal government or the state. So we just need to keep that in mind as we move forward with funding, additional funding, because this is, they originally asked, I think, for $700,000 per year, but a lot of that may come from grants. So just wanted to add that, and I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Dyder. Any other comments, Board? Vice Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to also add
Thank
into the official record. Again, this is progressive. This is important. We appreciate Ray Lightford's thinking, but also for this board, because we know how important this is. We know how important it is to deliver health services to the community. It's part of public safety. Now, I hope the state does fund us, but at the same point, we do have grants today that need to be optimized in its use and delivery of services, everything from our accountability courts to anything else that get grants here. So I look forward to Ray bringing to light, bringing leadership to this whole process and oversight that we need to optimize things here in the county. So I just want to make that statement, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, remarks, Board? Okay, being none, please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Board, we have a 5 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for the approval of the Optimization Act for CB-40 Community Service Board policy. Board, we're going to move on to tab number 9, which is approval of the 2022 Optimization Act for CB-60 Finance policy. Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is something, again, the board took up yesterday. Ramona Vivian, she's our new Chief Financial Officer. We talked about it yesterday, and we decided that we're going to table this, Madam Chair, officially until our retreat, since we're going to be talking about financials.
Okay.
Just with the simple condition from our boards that we also, in talking about this, which is about recurring revenues versus recurring expenses, and what our policy will be every year in setting our annual budget, but also to talk about our monthly and annual reporting mechanism. And this morning, I did have a chance to talk to Madam CFO. I don't know if she's out there, but is Director Miller out there?
Yes, she's,
Madam Chair, may I have her
she's
come
coming, yeah,
forward, please?
yes, she's coming up now. Thank you, Director Miller.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. So again, we're going to table this until tomorrow as a confirmation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in addition, there was a discussion yesterday and further this morning regarding financial reporting and the capacity to be able to deliver financial reporting for everyone, every elected, every department head, and being more transparent across the system. Is that accurate, that we have that capability internally?
Oh, definitely. We do have details, yes.
Okay. And out of this, we'll talk about this tomorrow, how the board would expect that to be designed, making sure it matches statutory and, of course, the legal opine of our county attorney. But we can do this and provide detail all the way down to the transaction for everyone, correct?
That is correct, yes.
In addition, we did talk about yesterday, every month, as you know, we have a financial report of everybody already for
Yes.
expenses that we review at a summary level. But it just stays at the committee level. We acknowledge the fact that that should be something that's adopted by the board monthly, like a board of directors or any publicly traded company. I just wanted to put that on record. Is that capable of doing that as well?
You're correct, yes.
All right. Madam Chair, I just want to put that on record. We'll take this up during our retreat, okay?
Okay,
That's all I got. Thank you.
all right. Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Guider. had something.
Director, if you come
Director.
back to the photo. Now, yesterday, Ms. Ammons was out sick, and she was going to present to us policy about P-cards, purchase cards.
Yes.
And is that going to be part of the discussion going forward?
Not at the budget, it wasn't planned to be at the budget workshop, no.
So she's not going to be able to be there tomorrow either?
Yeah, to my knowledge, it's just, we're just speaking of the 2023 budget, and really no policies except the policy that you guys have asked us to now, the finance
Okay,
portion.
well, it falls under finance, that's why I was asking, but we do not have a policy regarding purchase cards. And so we need a policy, and I was assuming it was going to be part of the discussion tomorrow.
That I wasn't aware of.
Commissioner, you stand to be corrected. We do have a policy for P-cards.
I've been told by someone we do not.
Commissioner Carthen is the chairman of the Purchasing Oversight and Procurement Oversight.
But anyway, so that's not part of the, that's not going to be part of the agenda, because tomorrow.
That is correct. To my knowledge, it's not part of the agenda.
Okay, because I had asked the county attorney to research the need for receipts before we vote, and he can speak for himself if Attorney Coleman would speak about receipts on P-cards.
The draft P-card policy does provide for receipts for all transactions.
I could not hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The draft P-card policy that will be presented to you, when Ms. Ammons is correct, does provide for receipts for all transactions.
The draft
Yes.
that we're going to be discussing tomorrow?
I don't know if it's on the agenda for tomorrow or not. I can't really respond to that, but I do know that the draft that would have been presented to you yesterday,
Okay.
but for Ms. Ammons' illness,
Yes.
does provide for receipts.
So she's drafted a policy
No.
for the P-cards.
No, the policy has been drafted. It has, she drafted it initially. It has been reviewed by our office, and it's ready for presentation to the board when she is recovered.
When she brings it to the board.
When she's recovered, yes. I think it was on the agenda for yesterday, but she was.
It was, but
she was
she
not-
was out sick.
She was out sick, correct. But it does provide for receipts.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Guider.
I'm going to be nice. No, go ahead.
You can go.
I'll go. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, may I?
You have the floor.
All right,
Bless
thank you.
you.
No, just clarity one more time, just for structurally, for the citizens. We have two leadership positions in our county, and they're distinguishedly and they're separate. There's finance, which typically deals with, revenues and expenses, et cetera. And then there's procurement. They're very important. They both are fiduciary. They're two brand-new additions to, as people to our leadership roster. Ramona Bivens is our new Chief Financial Officer. So she's responsible for, again, everything finance, accounting, and audit. On the other side, you have Latanya Amons, who is our Director of Purchasing or Procurement. That's responsible for transactions. In other words, once the money has come in, she's the one about dealing with contracts. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. There's a separation. Those are two distinguishing different things, and they both report into the county administrator. They're not the same. And so that's important to say that now while they may be tangential, they are very separate functions. And so I just wanted to clarify that. Secondly, as it relates to the procurement, there is a policy that the Purchasing Oversight Committee did take a look at. It reviewed it, and then it actually approved it and sent it up to the full board. That is available. It just systematically and just logistically, nobody was in place. And this is, I want to emphasize this, there's a need for deputy directors. The system should not stop because we've got to have redundancy. That's the sidebar. But to Madam Guider's point, we did have something, we were ready to go for the board to talk about. And again, the whole point of the Optimization Act is to line everything up. You've got things on the books from 1998. You got things from 2019. You got things on the books from all over the place, and they're unaligned. The whole point of this process that we went through over the past couple of months is just to try our best to move us down the field. Right? Just it's just first down. We're not trying to score a touchdown per se, because it's going to take a minute. This is something that, again, is almost like trying to fix you guys' pay as employees. It's been neglected. Likewise with our policies. Mm-hmm. They haven't been addressed. So now we got to fix them. Now, can we fix them all at once and have an override? No. Set expectations. But we can do the best we can to make sure we get to where we need to get to. And I just wanted to clarify that, Madam Chair. So there is the existence of policies. We had a credit card policy prior to a P card policy. Two different mechanisms. And again, the board can take up whatever it wants to. As you guys know, commentary, if you're smart enough, you know how to get stuff into a meeting and conversation. But nonetheless, tomorrow's meeting is strictly about the budget, et cetera. What we're supposed to be doing today, if I'm not mistaken on this agenda, is to authorize, and Madam Clerk, confirm, we're authorizing you to move forward with publication of a public hearing to talk about purchasing ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we are talking about it. It's a process. There's a difference between a policy and an ordinance. Madam Clerk, can you distinguish the difference between an ordinance and a policy? Because some things we talked about everything yesterday, but some are rolling forward today for a vote and some must pause. Can you distinguish the difference, please, between an ordinance and a policy?
A policy the board can adopt and put into place without a public hearing. An ordinance, an amendment to our Douglas County Code of Ordinances must have a public hearing, and then it can be adopted.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so just for clarity, so it's a process. As Commissioner Mitchell would always say, it's a process that we must follow, and everybody will have their chance to weigh in, and we must follow, obviously, what is prescribed for us to conduct business. So, Madam Chair, again, we're talking about just tabling this, so
yes,
I'm going to yield back the floor. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Carthen, you don't have anything now?
Be kind,
Oh, be kind and caring. All right. Thank you again, and I just respectfully, if we could just allow our procurement director, she's under doctor's care, just to heal and rest, and then certainly as soon as she recovers, Board of Commissioners, I promise you, you will have a presentation. Again, respectfully.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to move on. Certainly, Board, I wanted to table tab number 9, which was the approval of the 2022 Optimization Act for CB-60 Finance Policy. Do we have a motion to table, Board of Commissioners?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Board. Certainly, we have a motion and a second. When I ask you, yeah, we'll do a manual vote. We have a motion and a second on the table. I'll just ask if there's any discussion. If there's none, we have a motion and a second. Please indicate if you're in favor by raising your right hand.
Table.
Okay. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to table. And I didn't ask if it was any opposition, because it wasn't. We have a 5-0 vote. Thank you, Board. We're going to move on to tab number 10, which is approval of the 2022 Optimization Act for CB-130 Travel Policy. Clerk, would you just frame it for us, please, for the...
Yes, ma'am. Douglas County Travel Policy and Procedures Manual. The purpose is to provide guidelines for authorization and administration of travel expense reporting by Douglas County's elected officials, employees, members of advisory boards, and all others who are authorized to travel on county business and seek reimbursement from the funds of Douglas County, Georgia.
Okay, thank you so much. Vice Chair, do you have anything to add before I call the question?
Is, so Madam CFO is not out there either.
No, but we do have Rosalind. We have Director Miller here. Madam
Director Miller, can you speak to the travel policy in general? Or Madam A, somebody?
Madam ACA, can you speak? Okay, you can't either. Did anybody provide any insight for us this morning? There we go. We have Director Miller.
Yes. The major difference between your current travel policy and what's proposed is that CFO Bivens states to use rates based off of your per diem or your travel, use GSA rate, so therefore it's easier, it's administrative, it's easier. Instead of calculating the days, you can actually go online and get an average rate that the state uses. And grants also follow these guidelines also. Another administrative is like if someone takes they travel and you're trying to calculate half a day on the first day and half a day on the second, she established to do a percentage of 75%. So those are your major changes, and they're more administrative to help the process of doing the travel reimbursements.
Okay. So is the primary goal efficiency to make it?
Oh,
better?
definitely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Madam Chair?
Okay. Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Again, we're trying to line things up. No different than our planning and zoning, where we typically have what we call text amendments, things that, for whatever reason, that didn't get in last time. We called it voids in the law or inconsistency in the law. Voids in the code or inconsistency in the code. And so this one is more cleaning things up. I think you guys also address meals as well and a couple other things, just for clarity. So I'm going to pause on that and thank you for that. One of the things that we did look at as far as travel, and I just chose not to introduce this, was the whole notion of car allowances. And we recognize, again, as it relates to finance, there are individuals that get car allowances, and they're inconsistency. They're all over the board. I do want to thank Michael Coleman and his team for creating that accordingly. So that's important, right? So there's a lot of things within the way we do business that's all over the board that organically grew. There was no intelligent design. It just evolved like it did. And we can do better than that. So here we are. We're going to look at all these things over time. I think County Attorney said one more time, it's going to take you about 1.5 years to get us to where we need to get to. Is that about accurate?
as you stated so eloquently earlier, it's a process.
Fair enough. Fair enough, that's right. I wasn't trying to bind you and stuff, but we recognized it. I mean, it took us a year and a half and about, what, $500,000 to rewrite our entire Unified Development Code, Allison? So it does take time. It takes effort. That's $500,000 for just that one assignment. So duly noted. Madam Chair, I yield. We're good.
Thank you. Any other remarks, Board, before I call the question? Thank you so much, Director Miller. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the 2022 Optimization Act for CB-130 travel policy? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Board, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. We're going to move on to tab number 11, which is approval of the 2022 Optimization Act for the CB-120 technology policy. And certainly, if you could frame it for us, Clerk, to just give us an idea, a baseline of what this policy is all about. And then I will ask Commissioner Carthen, who's the Chairman of Technology, to weigh in, as you did yesterday in our work session. You have the floor, Clerk.
Okay, and if it's okay, I'll just read the whole thing since it's so short.
Okay.
CB 120 technology. The Douglas County government, also referred to as the Board of Commissioners herein, desires to enact a county-wide policy across all general government as well as constitutional areas, whereby the BOC desires to ensure that all technology platforms, applications, modules, add-ons, and equipment adhere to an established and standardized policy. The BOC desires a base set of data must be provided for performance evaluation, operational analysis, and public transparency without violation of statutory requirements associated with certain privacy mandates or cybersecurity protocol. Finally, the BOC desires the Director of CTO of Information Services shall serve as a key input member and final authority on technology systems and policies and policy decisions on behalf of the BOC.
Okay, thank you so much, Clerk Watson. Commissioner Carthen, if you continue to frame.
Yes, Madam Chair and Douglas County Board of Commissioners. This CB 120 technology policy was brought forth from our technology committee where I am the chair. And it simply is to provide for us to have a consistent policy, whereas internal and external services in terms of technology platforms adhere to our cybersecurity and technology standards. We just don't want to be without our CTO, our Director of CTO, not having final input on any of the technologies, whether they are cloud-based or server-based. So this key aligns us to ensure that we have security protocol across all departments, internally and externally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Well said. Okay, Board of Commissioners, you've heard the discussion. Certainly, I'll call the question if there are no other remarks. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the 2022 Optimization Act for the CB-120 technology policy? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Okay, Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries for the approval of the CB-120 technology policy. So thank you. We're going to move on to tab number 12, which is the approval of the revised ARPA list. Oh, yeah, Vice Chair. Hold on one second.
Just one point of clarity. I want to go back to the purchasing card table that we just did to reconsider. And I need my board to hear this. Within there was another policy that dealt with professional services. dealing with conflict, but this really was from our county attorney, it just fell under that. I think that needs to be brought forth and decided on independently. The P card is just that procurement. The other one's professional services. How do you guys want to handle that? This is to reconsider bringing that back forward to deal with it, because those are two separate things under that bill.
Any feedback, board? Remarks? Certainly, I would like to see it, just in my opinion, both handled separately, if you could. If
Yeah.
we could, yeah, bring, so we could just.
Knock it out, yeah.
Okay. Any objection, board? Bring it back separate? Okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay. No, I want,
Reconsider
we want to,
untabling
yeah, we're going to
that one,
reconsider
take that one provision out, settle it.
and then deal with the professional
Deal with
services.
it, correct.
Okay. Can you hear me, Commissioner? I'm sorry, I tried to.
Speaking to you.
And I'm speaking into the mic. Can you hear me now, Commissioner?
I can now.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Robinson was just talking about, I want to separate, he asked for our opinion. My opinion, I would like to separate the two policies, one that's related to professional services and then one related to P-card. I would like to discuss those and see those bills separate, the legislation brought forward separately. Do you have any feedback, Commissioner?
Tonight, today?
Not today,
Oh,
not today,
okay.
as we go forward.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe for the next meeting or so. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, anything you want to add?
Yeah, Madam Chair, let me just clarify. So county attorney or county clerk, the way it's been framed, while it is a legal matter, and it is to give authority to the county attorney, should it be inside here? That's what I'm trying to get clarity. That says that it can be acted upon separately, or does it still need a public hearing? Lisa, county attorney.
If one is amending the ordinance, it has to be a public hearing. If one is a policy on its own, it does not.
So county attorney, we opine on, is that a policy or is it an ordinance?
I believe the document as drafted is a policy, proposed to be a policy.
It's supposed to be a policy, Madam Chair. So that
Okay.
means we can act on it.
Okay, good. And we will act accordingly. Okay? Is that, can you hear me?
So we're acting on it now.
Oh, you ready to act on it now? Okay, well, you call the motion. Go for it. You want to do it?
All right, so Michael, just give clarity, just for the record, what that is, and then I'll make the motion as Madam Chair suggested.
Our clerk raised her hand.
Or clerk, yeah, or either one, I'm sorry. Clerk?
I'm sorry, I'm just confused because it was on
Well, I'm
yesterday's agenda and we took it off yesterday. We did not put it on this agenda. The one we tabled today was for finance.
Yes. Yeah, we
Oh,
didn't.
you tabled it all together.
Yeah, it's just finance altogether.
So
So,
we can't act on it then.
right, so we'll hold it until our
Well,
next meeting.
point of order. We've done this plenty of times before, yes, because we talked about it, yes, we can. We've come in plenty of times in the morning and put things on the agenda. So is there something that prohibits us from taking this up? We did discuss it in yesterday's work session. Now, it'd just be a hand motion, but we did discuss it. We've talked about these policies for, 3 meetings? This is not new. This is not a shotgun. We're just trying to knock stuff out that we don't have to stack the deck unnecessarily. Get work done that we need to get done. The stuff that we need to follow the process, we should. So I need clarity on process, please.
We can add it to the agenda. We would just need a motion to amend the agenda to add it to this agenda.
A path forward. Very good. Madam Chair, your call.
All right,
Madam Chair,
okay.
uh,
Guidance.
Commissioner Robinson made the motion, and we voted to table it, and it was finance.
No, it's finance, but this is different. This is professional services.
This was what?
This is professional services. I believe this is around professional
Does it
services.
fall under finance?
There are several things that perhaps may
Well-
fall in, but not that particular. We discussed professional services yesterday, so I don't want to make it difficult, Commissioner.
I don't want to make it difficult, but y'all've got me confused. You got the clerk confused. Probably everybody on this board's confused that it's not in the loop.
Okay. Clerk, if you could frame it. Are you confused, Commissioner? What do I need to do?
Okay, may I?
Yeah, please help
Yeah,
unconfuse
the
us.
commentary, we said be
She's
kind.
confused.
There's nobody not in the loop. We're trying to get work done. Trying to get work done. And we had some things here, right? We're looking for staff. We pay $65 million worth of salaries. The board is not confused. We're trying to get work done that we brought forth. Now can we get some clarity? I mean, every now and then you got to turn the headphones off and you got to act in the moment. I do. So let's just try to clarify right now. These are two separate things. Finance is not procurement. That's a fact. Two separate areas. And we're just trying to get clarity because, again, one more time, there was a bill sitting there that had legal orientation. I just want to get clarity, like, okay, guys, did y'all know that this was tied to that? We talked about it. All right, so we can bring it forth in this meeting. We just have to amend the agenda to add that component, and then we act on it. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. It's to reconsider. That was it. So can we get clarity, somebody down there, please?
We did
Provide
not talk about
clarity,
it.
Lisa. Lisa, if you could, clerk.
Okay. What we tabled yesterday was procurement CB 100. And it is my understanding that
About it yesterday.
Commissioner Robinson would like to take the P card out, separate that from the procurement CB 100, and vote on that policy separately today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, professional services is what he
We're
wanted.
voting on professional services today. Okay.
So-
What did I say?
That's, okay.
So it is part of the CB dash 100, is that what you're saying, the procurement policy?
That was my understanding, that it was part of CB 100.
Okay.
Correct, Vice Chair? Yep.
And did I hear you say, Lisa, we were tabling the CB 100 policy? He just want to take that
We tabled
the
that
segment out.
yesterday.
Okay, I got you. Okay. We tabled it yesterday, board, so just for clarity, the CB 100, which is the procurement policy, but there's a section in the policy that we want to move forward. We did discuss, which is separate, which is that professional services, which falls under
I do not
procurement.
recall anything being said about professional services yesterday. Of course, we did have a 6-hour meeting without a break, and sometimes you have to just go do your personal stuff and then come back. So the meeting keeps on and on. I think we need to set a precedent as how many breaks you get in a 6-hour meeting.
Okay, I agree. With that being said, if you could just reframe the professional services, if you could, our attorney, if you could just pull that segment out and just read it for us, or review it. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, and then that'll allow us to move forward with I'll call the question. And you know what we'll do to allow us, because we are all over the place, I would like to take a 5-minute break and allow you all to pull the information together so I could call the question accordingly and amend the budget. Is that fair? And I want to do that. So give us a minute, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Yep.
5 minutes.
Recess. Your
5-minute recess. 5-minute break. It was more or less a 10-minute break. We're ready, our Communications Department, to resume our meeting.
Madam Chair, can you please clarify
Recess.
that no action is to be taken on the matter
Yes.
until our next meeting?
Okay. Okay, we'll get started. There will be no action taken on this matter regarding professional services until our next meeting. Our next meeting, I believe, clerk, is November, when is our next meeting?
29th.
Okay, November 29th, Board of Commissioners. This information will come back before you. All right, we're going to move on again to the approval of our revised ARPA list, and we have our Madam ACA, which is our Assistant County Administrator, Tiffany Stewart Stanley, that will just give us she'll just frame it, so we'll know exactly what has been revised, and so we could vote accordingly. Board, you have the floor, Madam ACA.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Board of Commissioners. So as we discussed yesterday, we did our yearly review of our ARPA allocation list with the help of our consultant, Landmark Consulting, who has gone through and done a deep dive just to verify that the projects that we have within the allocation list fit within the guidelines of ARPA. And so luckily, we've been able to do so. They've found that all the projects fit within that guidelines. We did have to go in and reallocate some of the funding and make staff recommendations on things that we feel no longer fit the intent of what the board was trying to accomplish due to some roadblocks that we ran into with things like the community detention pond cleanup. And so roughly about 10% of the money for ARPA has to be reallocated. And so I will just give you guys a brief summary of some of the things that we're reallocating the funding for. Excuse me.
Thank you.
One of the things that we will be doing is asking the board to reallocate some of the money for a street sweeper, and that goes in line with our beautification efforts that we have here in the county. A mobile book library, we're asking for $205,000 so that our library services can go out and serve our community at different events and go to parts of the community where people may not be able to get to the library. Home repairs for senior citizens is something that the staff is recommending, $150,000 for senior services to give funds to members of our community who are seniors who need repairs on their homes. And then for our youth programs, we are asking for $125,000. One other allocation we're asking the board to consider is land for the library. We ran into a roadblock with the initial plan, but we feel like it's in the best interest to move forward by looking to acquire some land for the library in District 3. And then we had to, of course, make adjustments to the amount that was being allocated for the funding for our consultant. We had originally allocated $400,000, but we found out that that was just not enough for them to adequately do the work over the next 3 years. So that is the request.
Okay,
Taking
thanks.
questions.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Guider?
it was my impression from yesterday that this was tabled and to be brought up at the finance meeting tomorrow.
No, I don't think that was well, maybe it was your impression, but I had mentioned yesterday that certainly with the
Well, I
board.
think the director agreed with me.
So it was originally slated to be discussed. However, I believe there were more than one board member who asked for it to be put on the agenda for today. So we have to follow the protocols and place it on the agenda for today.
So two of the board members got together and pushing it forward.
No, ma'am, I wouldn't say they got together. I think in the open meeting, I believe we heard a couple board members say that they would like to see it on the agenda for today.
And I believe it was me, Commissioner. Let me stand alone on this one. I got this one. It was me, and I thought that it was appropriate, and I wanted it to come forth here today because I said and I'll just re-quote what I said. We are against a timeline. We need to get these projects done. We've been discussing this.
You have the land.
We've been discussing this about 2 years, and it's time to move forward with these projects. We have a deadline of 2026. We need everything appropriated or allocated by 2024. So the clock is ticking, and I was the commissioner that mentioned yesterday to go forward. I certainly will stand alone, as my former Marine husband say, stand on your own 2 feet, and I'm standing on mine right now. So I'm the one that said it, but if the board want to do something different, we can. Just delay it. You want to go forward? Let's go for it. It's here. All right. Okay, you have the floor, Vice Chair.
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, for the record, the chair is, by herself, can put anything on the agenda to vote, and any two commissioners can as well with authority. So I just want to make sure we're clear. But on this one, again, this innuendo is unnecessary. That it's really not. We're trying to get work done. We went through a disaster, a global crisis. We've got money that rightfully it's not stuck at the state. It came directly to us. And we've got a fiduciary responsibility to sort of apply it to the taxpayers. And I just, I want to be consistent. So my question then becomes is that, does this need to comply with federal guidelines and rules for procurement?
Yes, that is correct. When that's one of the reasons why we're lucky to have Landmark as our consultant, because they've gone through, they've done a deep dive, and they will continue throughout the process all the way through 2026, making sure that we comply with all the federal guidelines for the money that we've received. And so they have gone through, they pinpointed like every allocation where it fits in the ARPA guidelines. We just recently, our grant oversight manager, Jill Hobson, just recently submitted our report that was due on October 31st yesterday. So as at this point, we are fully in compliance with all the federal guidelines, and we hope to continue to work hard to make sure that we continue to be in compliance.
Okay. So with that being said, the procurement process that we procurement ordinance that we passed back in 2019 would be in effect, dealing with procurement and disadvantaged business enterprises, in addition to the Title VI that the full board adopted last month that spoke to fairness, that tied to both the federal and state. This is important. Title VI, the full board adopted an acknowledgement that there needs to be equal of treatment, equal in rights, equal in access, and equal or equality in opportunity. Will it be compliant with that? Both that Title VI that we acknowledge as a full board, and would it come into compliance with our policy on the books since 2019? Yes or no?
Yes. So one of the things that we know from the federal funding is we have to not only be in compliance with their guidelines, but the county procurement process. We have some things like the broadband that we will have to go to bid for and do all of the requirements that we have here in the county in order to be able to allocate those funds. So yes, we will have to comply with all of these policies and procedures.
Okay, and then finally, again, you made some adjustments where I have no problem with it. But we've got the program management done, right?
That is correct.
All right, I know I even, acquiesced and gave up advocacy for certain things, obviously, to allow that. I want to make sure that that community stability and economic stability is still there, correct?
That is correct. We got your directive last year that you wanted a substantial amount of funding to be put in those categories, and we tried to stay within that intent and just reallocate some of the funding to make sure that we cover some things like our seniors, our youth, and still do your beautification efforts that you want to do with the street sweeper, and then allocating the money for seniors for their home repairs.
Yeah, I mean, the economic stability was important. It's for nonprofits out there as well. They have what we call civic engagement. So this gets into not just the Share House, Madam Chair, but some of the other organizations. And I think there's roughly about $50,000 left. I just want to acknowledge that we still are going to fulfill that which we started. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So there's not a new list that we're starting over. We're saying, hey, what we originally started in play, if it was legitimate, we're going to keep down that path. But there's a couple of new things we had to add because these things were ineligible. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. And as you all noted that earlier this year, we did allocate about $500,000 in community funding to different organizations, and we still will have some money to allocate. We have roughly about another $500,000 that we'll be looking to allocate next year as well.
Madam Chair, thank you.
All
Madam
right.
Chair?
Thank you.
I guess we're discussing this now, so.
Yeah.
You said that this list was made up by the staff. Did you reach out to each of the commissioners?
Commissioner Goddard, I did not. This was just our initial staff recommendation list that we brought to the commissioners for discussion. We did note some things that we had heard said at commission meetings and things of that nature, but we did, yesterday was just for the discussion, and then it was put on the agenda for today.
Well, until yesterday, I did not know that the trust company had withdrawn, we weren't going to use the trust company donation of the land for the $12 million library. Last year, it was a $10 million library. Now, y'all have added another $1.1 million to it out of this allocation, this reallocation. So we're up to $13 million. Do you know you could build 2 libraries for $13 million? It's been said that this library is the only one that is scheduled for District 3 because they did not have one. The Dog River Library is on the line between District 4 and District 3. The road right down the road is in District 3. So it does serve District 3, but when we get up to $13 million for a library, somebody needs to look at this. We could build another administration building or something for this. This is not just a library. This is a Taj Mahal, as Commissioner Robinson likes to call our jail. And so you don't even know where the land is going to be that you want to buy, yet you're saying you've got to have the fiber and all that come into it. Well, fiber may be already there if you hadn't bought the land. So I don't understand why so much is being put forth on a library that it will only serve a small group of people. Libraries are not used like they were used to. Why not build 2 libraries for this? So I just object to the fact that y'all just keep piling money onto one project. And so with that, and I've heard a lot of comment from the public about this. 10 million was outrageous, but 13 million is worse than outrageous for one library.
Commissioner, at this point, I don't think we finalized any final numbers for the library. I think right now, we're just taking the precautions to set aside funding that could be potentially used for the library. After reviewing this list and looking at projects, and as we go through it with our grants management team and Landmark, I suspect that I probably will be coming back to you guys next year and in 2024, reallocating funding depending on whether we spent money on this project or whether we didn't. We did need to spend money on this project, but we've been given a directive to make sure that this is a project we want to look at to make sure that we have facility equality across all the facilities here in the county.
But you don't, what I object to is you don't talk with all the commissioners, your staff. We have to justify, okay? And I'm not putting you down, I'm just saying, we're the ones that have to answer to the public. And so it would seem that you would have reached out to all the commissioners, not just 1 or 2.
I did not reach out to any commissioners, Commissioner Goddard. Like I said, this is a staff recommendation that I brought for discussion to the board yesterday. Myself, members of our grant management team, our deputy county administrator, we are just coming to you all with recommendations. We're before you today. You can make any changes that you deem necessary. But
it's a done deal. I know that. I'm just blowing into spitting into the wind right now, wasting my breath because this is what just goes on up here. So with that, I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Commissioner Carpenter was next. Commissioner Carpenter, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to remind this board that when our former county administrator took office and these ARPA funds started to come out, that the county administrator sat down with each commissioner. And so I am noting certain things on here, like a Winston Park upper field concession stand that a certain commissioner pushed to ensure was on this list. There are other things on here that I can look and see each commissioner's voice on this. So I really do take offense that that a certain commissioner is trying to throw the staff under the bus. The staff took what was recommended by the county administrator, who took time with each one of us, who asked us to send a list, and that is what you all have taken and reallocated to ensure that we would meet the performance and meet the criteria and guidelines that the federal ARPA Commission has set out for. So it's really important. I just want the public to understand, right, that we all get a chance and a voice here on this Board of Commissioners. When you ask us to be the voice at the table, this is what that voice represents. So I do take offense to that, because I don't want staff to think that we don't appreciate you as our grant manager, as our assistant county administrator, as our engineering department, as our transportation department, as our parks and recs director. It is so vitally important that we get these things right. And so I appreciate all that you continue to do to push for the citizens of Douglas County. And yes, my 35,000 citizens that I have spoken to, majority of, would like a Chapel Hill Library or a District 3 library in the vicinity that they don't have to travel 20 to 25 minutes to get to. So I appreciate all that you are doing to ensure that everybody has a seat at the table. And furthermore, I appreciate that you all are going above the rim to ensure that we have a program manager. It takes a lot to get these programs implemented. It takes money. It takes program management. So again, thank you all for what you're doing, including you, Director Perry. So I just want to say that. Thank you, and Madam Chair, I yield.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Commissioner
Yeah.
Vice Chair Robinson, you have the floor.
Yeah, again, to Commissioner Carthen's point, but this is a process that we've been actively working. And again, there's the political narrative, and it's right, get it in. You breathe it out. I get it. Last dance. It's unnecessary. We talk about diplomacy. We talked about kindness. I mean, I hear it. It goes as far as the paper is written on, because it's not sincere. It's disingenuous. We really are trying to advance for the citizens. We're all trying to represent our public. I don't even speak to my peers. I mean, this suggestion that we get together is sort of like, let's not do that. All you have to do is listen. And you can hear where your peers are leaning. You can hear where staff is. You have to pay attention. But the same point is that, but there is lobbying that happens. Right? It's called lobbying. You got to get to 3 sometimes. You got to go talk to somebody. That's the problem in America right now. We act like we can't talk. We're in our little bubbles, and we crowd and we scream violently that you ain't paying attention. Well, you ain't saying nothing. Talk. Come to the table. Everybody's voice seems to be included. I would agree. I could go down this list and sit down. We can go down this list and vote on each one. But the point was to make sure that everybody's voice was included. Everybody got to be heard. Now, we know the cost of things right now has gone up. The last library we built was right around that number, right around that $10 million. And it's a false narrative. I said around. And it's just like, and this is our challenge. It's like, look, everybody can't even speak because somebody wants to cancel somebody else's voice. And my voice is going to stand. I represent my interests in my district. And this list is duly done, and I want to make sure, again, we've talked about it. The staff, you're right. We know all of us can pick up the phone and call any director at any time and get clarity. So to suggest that there's some type of undercurrent, it's like, no, I have to rebuke that spirit. That ain't this. In addition, I needed you to acknowledge that this came to the Finance Committee. Last meeting we had along with the single view of everything. As we said in our last Board of Commissioners meeting, I'm going to take both of these into finance. You guys brought it forth. Tell the truth, tell the story, tell the full story. I didn't touch it, I just wanted to see it. I wanted to make sure it was in the right shape, right color, make sure everything was there, make sure everything was acknowledged. We didn't do anything to it. All we said was send it straight to the full Board of Commissioners. But it's not like that there's somebody pushing something out of order. Everybody weigh in. There's only gonna be so much money, so much appropriation. I mean, gee, I don't know what we say, $500,000 to buy the land. I don't know what the number was, just it. I mean, we did spend $10 million on 30 acres for that jail, cash out the general fund. At least we using grant money that came from the feds. I mean, the difference between incarcerating versus educating. Now, we can sit here and debate this all night, all day, and I don't think it's necessary. But get it out, and we got to move on. But this is important. We're here about the work of the people. Our job is to do oversight, see what staff brings forth, weigh in. The five of us have to work together. Now, we can be in isolation. That's fine. But every now and then, we got to go. And we got to make decisions to move the public forward. And again, so we're going to be kind. I'm going to leave it at that, Madam Chair. I can't go no further. I yield.
Madam Chair,
Okay, thank you. Commissioner?
just one clarification. The Winston ball field, the upper field, concession stand was on the original splosh list. It was on the original splosh list, and the money was taken away from us. So with that, I yield back.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much, Commissioner. Certainly, I believe there's $750,000 that has been allocated in ARPA. I've heard your voice loud and clear regarding the Winston Park and the concession stands and the needs, and we've had an opportunity to, I believe you're working with the architect now to get that done. But certainly, broadband is something for our underserved communities. We have a barrage of citizens working at home now simply because there has been a shift because of the pandemic, and we really need to get on board. That's why I want to move these projects along. And by design, the library is not coming out of the ARPA funds, but we had to shift because the free land that we talked about earlier from the public trust, as you were mentioning, is a floodplain. A floodplain is very common in Douglas County. So I would like to commend Commissioner Carthen publicly. She gave up one of her projects that was on the list, previously on the ARPA list, and she shifted. So she gave something up to get this additional $500,000 so she could, for her library space. So she did, she removed something off the list. So I want to commend her for doing that. And I just, certainly citizens, I need you to hear that loud and clear. Commissioner Carthen gave up something to move something in another direction because she has no control over what's a floodplain in Douglas County. And unfortunately, all the land, a lot of the land, a significant amount of land in Douglas County is a floodplain, and my surgeon, who is James Worthington, who is our Director of Development Services, had to deliver the bad news to her and to me, which I was very disappointed, but life goes on, and we're making adjustments. Who knows? There may be another addition. The land may not cost $500,000, but we do need to earmark it. So I want to move on, Board of Commissioners. I know we've beat this dead horse long enough. Board of Commissioners certainly want to call a motion for this ARPA list. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a second and a motion. If there's no discussion, a motion and a second, please prepare to cast your votes. Oh, you want us to do it again?
It popped back up.
No, do it again. Yeah, try it again. Board. Okay, Board of Commissioners, we have a 4-1 vote and the motion carries for the approval of this ARPA list amendment. Deputy Clerk, certainly we want to start with it. We will move on to our consent agenda. Board of Commissioners, please be mindful that all items are subject to final legal review. You have the floor, Deputy Clerk. Mathis.
Okay, consent agenda, number 13, authorization for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to accept for 2022 fiscal year 22 Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act grant, DOJ, funds in the amount of $175,000 with no required match. Amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 14, authorization to accept a FEMA and GEMA grant in the amount of $293,257.96 with no required match for reimbursement of eligible expenses related to COVID-19. Amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 15, authorization to accept the ACCG Group Health Benefit Program Health Promotion Grant in the amount of $6,000, 2 increments of $3,000 each. Amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 16, approval of the 2023 Douglas County Employee Benefit Offerings as recommended by the Benefit Committee and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 17, authorization to purchase 2 industrial mowers from Van Zant Lawnmower Sales and Service for the Parks Maintenance Division at Sourcewell State Contracting Pricing at a total cost of $25,816 to be funded through the general fund as recommended by Parks and Recreation Department. Number 18, authorization to accept bond payments from Capital Indemnity Corporation Platte River Insurance Company in the amount of $210,000 and then $25,000 for paving and repairs in Stonehaven subdivision. Amend the budget as needed and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 19, approval of a lease agreement rent-free of the Coroner's Building from the City of Douglasville in connection with the sale of property previously approved and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 20, authorization to advertise for a public hearing to consider amending the Douglas County Code of Ordinances regarding Article 2, Section 3-23, temporary alcohol permits, Chapter 12.5-17, public consumption of beer, wine, and spirits in its public buildings and parks, Chapter 9, finance and taxation, and Chapter 5, Article 11, Animal Control Advisory Board.
Thank you so much, Deputy Clerk Mathis. Board of Commissioners, that concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Board, any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes.
Madam Chair, I would like to point out with respect to the lease with the City of Douglasville, we were going to make a slight change to the insurance requirements in the lease. The requirements that are there, that have been requested of us, are greater than what we actually currently have. So we're going to make that change, and we'll put the final document into the package. Just to make you aware of that.
Okay. Clerk, did you make a note of that? If it's into the record of your okay, Board? Okay. Is it, okay, pending? It's still pending legal review anyway, so thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second, Board, and certainly there's no discussion. Please prepare to cast your votes if you have not cast them already. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for the approval of the consent agenda. Thank you so much, Board. We're going to move on to our announcements. Any particular announcements, Board, or from you all, each board member? If not, okay, Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
I just have one, and it's just a save or mark the date. Thursday, December 16th will be my annual State of the District. I need that for the record. Since my citizens, I typically finish out the year, turn on the mic until December 16th. That'll be after our last voting meeting, that Monday and Tuesday. The State of the District will be on Thursday, December 16th. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Vice Chair. If there are no other comments or announcements, I certainly will yield the floor to our Communications Director, Rick Martin. You have the floor.
Good morning,
morning, Madam Chair,
Good morning.
Vice Chair, Vice Chair-elect, Commissioners, and staff. Another Save the Date for Vice Chair Robinson, Glaucoma Awareness Month Forum, presented by Vice Chair and District 2 Commissioner Kelly G. Robinson, will be happening in January 19th, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Learn more about his experience and hear from notable experts as well. An event coming up this month as part of Operation Greenlight, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners is hosting a lighting ceremony to commemorate the commencement of the Douglas County Courthouse's Green Illumination event. It's happening right outside the Douglas County Courthouse. A shuttle will be provided from the Community Services Board office from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and return service after the event as well. The annual Douglas County Veterans Day Lighted Parade is happening the night of Veterans Day on Friday, November 11th at 7 p.m. through downtown Douglasville. Parade applications may be obtained by visiting celebratedouglascounty.com. The Douglas County Courthouse and county programs and services will be closed for Veterans Day on Friday, November 11th. Douglas County E911, the Sheriff's Office, and Fire and EMS will be open, as always, to protect and serve the residents of Douglas County. The Douglas County Board of Commissioners is accepting applications to serve on the following boards, and I'll say them: the Animal Control Advisory Board, Cemetery Preservation Committee, the Paratransit Advisory Board, Board of Health, Hospital Authority, and the Travel and Tourism Board. If you're interested in serving on any one of these boards, please contact our county clerk, Lisa Watson, at lwatson@douglascountyga.gov. The probate court will be open on Saturday, December 3rd. Please check the probate court website for more information. And you can get there through celebratedouglascounty.com. Last but not least, the Douglas County Citizens Improvement Survey is back. Please tell us how we can make your experience better in Douglas County. Look for the sign in your local library, local senior center, Connect Douglas, and the county courthouse itself. That concludes this morning's announcements. Madam Chair, I yield back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Director Martin, our Communication Director. Thank you for providing us with our announcements today. Board of Commissioners, certainly if you have no further comments today, we thank you for your time and talent.
Madam Chair?
And we, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Can you just, for the record, tomorrow, what are we doing the next 2 days for the public, since it's a public meeting?
Sure.
Retreat.
I would love to do that. To the citizens of Douglas County and also to the Board of Commissioners, we are preparing for our budget retreat tomorrow. This retreat will be held for 2 consecutive days, both tomorrow, which is November the 2nd, and November 3rd. We will be at the Douglasville Conference Center, and our meetings will start, the budget hearings will start at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Am I correct with my time, clerk?
9 a.m.
Oh, I'm sorry, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. in the morning. So tomorrow, we look forward to all our citizens and your participation. We will be working on the 2023 budget, so we will have our retreat tomorrow. Board of Commissioners, certainly I appreciate your time and talent, and we certainly will go into recess until 6 p.m. tonight for our planning and zoning meeting, and we'll look forward to seeing you back at 6 p.m. So now, Board of Commissioners, we are effective immediately. We are now in recess. Thank you.